Okay, so we're going back to county. We're in county, sitting around. I don't know what's next. Waiting to go. The county is pretty boring. The routine was wake up, eat breakfast, go back to sleep, wake up, clean cell, and then sit around, play dominoes, walk laps. There's not a whole lot to do. Jail is a lot of boring. A lot of boring. The stuff you see on TV, movies, and whatnot. You see the highlights, you see the quick moments, you see the moments that are actions actually going on, but a lot of the time it's sitting around being bored as shit. And moving on, going through and going through and going through. People come, people go. Some people are in for a couple hours, some people are in for weeks. I was in for about, like I said, 3.5 months. And finally, to go to RDU, I have to be quarantined before I go to RDU. So you quarantine for 5 days. So back to quarantine, back to that 5 days of 23 hours, 45 minutes of BS, and then 15 minutes shower. But since I had gone through, I had gotten a little bit more time, a little more established. I had phone time, but you had to choose. You could either do 15 minutes of phone time or 15 minutes of a shower, and that was once a day. So you made that decision. Get through that, finally, get through that. Go to RDU. Bus ride down, there was 6 of us. A bus ride, it was a van, so it was a comfy seat, actually. And ride down is about 2.5 hour trip, so it was nice. You get to be outside. Well, outside, you get to see outdoors. Anyways, you can see grass, see the sun. In jail, there's not a whole lot of seeing the outdoors, especially during the winter, especially during COVID. It's just not going to happen in jail. Prison's a whole different story. So go to RDU. I get put in with one of the guys that I rode down with, and from Leavenworth. So that was kind of nice because you didn't have that unfamiliarity. Kind of, didn't know how to feel him out. We at least knew where we both came from. So there was a little bit of understanding there, and a little bit of less having to get to know each other. So we got off pretty well. He's out there, man. That guy, he had face tattoos. He had some strange nicknames. He kept telling me different nicknames. That was a bad sign. That was kind of a red flag for me. If you have to keep changing your name in prison, that's not really usually that means you're trying to run from something, or you're trying to get out of stuff, or so people don't know who you are, at least in my mind. So he was kind of a how do you say it, a product of the system. He'd said that he had done 12 years and he was 28, something like that. So the math really didn't add up, but he said he had been there as a child. So I don't know. I really didn't question him. I wasn't trying to, find out if he was legit or not. I was just trying to make sure he wasn't too sketchy of a dude and gonna, stab me or try to rape me or some shit. I had no idea what to expect from prison. None of that ever happened throughout my entire prison stay. He pulled some of the stuff to get into extra trays. I didn't understand the whole concept of, what's the big point? This food is not that great. And at a certain point, it's just calories. They just don't feed you a whole lot. They feed you enough to get by, but then again, you're also not doing a whole lot. So it equals out, but still, you're full-grown men, dude. We can't be living off elementary-sized portions. This stuff doesn't work. So RDU, Receiving and Diagnostic Unit. You go through that. What they do is they give you some tests. They do a psych exam or psych eval. Figure out how crazy you are. They see the severity of your crime. They see where you're from. Check out if you're gang related. Check out just your medical. Check out your blood. See if you have any diseases. Make sure you're not crazy. Make sure you're not going to have any issues with anybody in prison. And they do all this. It can take, some people I heard were taking up to 6 months. And then there was also where there's a lot of rumors in prison. So you got to learn how to listen and filter and hold on to, heard that bit of information. And then that kind of came true. This is kind of false. This is kind of going on. Heard a lot of rumors. Heard that the Capitol was giving RDU a lot of grief because they're taking so long processing prisoners. So I ended up being there about 3.5 weeks. I know, 3.5 months, 3.5 weeks. Very, very similar, coincidental. But that's how that went. RDU, same thing, 23 hours and 30 minutes in the cell. So you got 30 minutes out at least. And then once you were there longer, you'd get an hour out, depending on where you were in which pod that RDU had you in. And then I got put into the overflow, and then for about a week, there. So I was there. I was in the general area for about 2.5 weeks, and then 1 week I spent at the Overflow, which, I mean, it had a library of books. You got out for an hour. It was only one pod or one section in the entire, because it was a 4-pod complex, and there was only one section being used, so it was a lot nicer. And then you got a bag. You packed out a pack out sack, and you packed out what personal items you still had, your paperwork, any items you had accrued, hygiene, anything that you had that you wanted to take with you to the prison camp that you were going to be sent to. And then I got my designation, and I was going to Lansing Correctional Facility. And that's where we'll leave this one off and pick up next on next subject of the story with the bus ride from RDU to Lansing. That was pain.